back on our target kick. This is one that has always been fascinating to me. And the first time that I saw it was in South Dakota at TAC, Total Archery Challenge. And I came on this target. It was a mind blower, to say the least. This particular target they had set out kind of on a hill in a big tree line. You came up the mountain, you see this target out in the trees, and you could have swore that it was 60 yards out there or better, because you had in your mind this majestic animal and the size of these animals in your head. And the way they set this target up was perfect. I mean, it was the trees behind it, the trees in front of it, its height in conjunction with where you were standing to shoot. Everything was perfect. And this target looked like it was at least 70, 80 yards out there. So I'm thinking I'm shooting 70 or 80. I bring up my rangefinder and this thing's only at 40 yards. And I was just mind blown. I was like, okay, well, that doesn't look 40 yards, but I guess. In my mind, I'm thinking this is a huge target. Ever since that day, when I walked up on that target and saw how small it was and what a mind trick had been played on me, I told myself I had to get one because it just was incredible. The target that I'm talking about today is the elk from Rinhart. This is their 1/3 scale elk target. Now this is a very small target, like I said, but put in the perfect situation or perfect surroundings, it looks like a full-size elk. I mean, it's incredible. You know, I don't think I'm going to be able to replicate that day by any means here in my backyard, but we're sure going to give it a shot here. We've got, and I thought this would be a perfect spot for it. I've got a stand back here already put in here, ready to go. I just got to drill some holes for the stakes. But I've got a tree in the back, I got a tree here in the front, I've got this big log in the front of it. And what this is made for, and Rinhart came up with this a few years ago actually, but what the 1/3 scale target does is gives you the vision of a 60-yard shot from 20 yards. They basically scaled down for the distance of 20 yards this target. Put in the right scenario in the field, this thing looks lifelike, but it looks like it's out there. I mean, like it's a 70-yard shot. Like, you're like, wow, that's a lot. That's my story with this target and the reason that I wanted to get this target. And we're going to add to our collection here. If you haven't seen yet, we did a video on the antelope that I purchased. Now the antelope is not a 1/3 scale, but it's a smaller target. You know, it will look pretty small out there at distances. Antelope are not very big to begin with, so. But this one here, I'm really anxious to see what it looks like in this little surrounding that I've got here in my backyard. So my regular targets and my stands and stuff are over there, and they're about 20 yards from this target. So basically, when I pull from those targets, I'm shooting back this way to this target at 20 yards. So we'll see how realistic this kind of gets. And so maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, but I just thought it was a really cool target. And ever since that day, I've always wanted one. So here it is. Here's your antlers. Pretty small. My head can fit through them. You got your head here. You stick your antlers down through the middle here. It's a pretty good snug fit. But there's your head. Isn't that neat? Then we go to the body here. Boy, it's heavy. Rinharts are built to last. Tell you what, Rinhart makes some quality stuff. And they used to come up with these, their first round of these, I believe, were 2 different foams. One was the good foam for the insert, and the body itself was not a self-healing foam, if I'm correct. Put in the comments if you know if that's correct or not. I think it is. I think they had a first gen. The first gen of these, the bodies were not made of the same foam as the insert. So you really chewed up that outer shell pretty quickly because they weren't self-healing. But these new generation ones are all the same foam. So they're the self-healing foam all the way through this whole target. So you won't burn through it if you start missing a lot. So that's a nice thing about this. And my antelope head was a little bit loose. We'll see how this one fits. Oh, that's nice. That's good and snug. Yeah, I think that's going to be perfect. This target, if you're familiar with 3D targets, is about almost the size of a boar. Their boar target. So it is pretty small. There it goes. All right, that should hold it good. Get those antlers back on. Let's go back and see how good it looks here. Okay, we're gonna run back here. It might be hard to see with this shade in there. Go back here to our 20-yard mark. Hey, it doesn't look bad though. That doesn't look bad at all. I don't know if you can see it in there. He does look a little bigger back in there with that log up front of him and them trees in the backdrop. It looks good in there, don't it? So yeah, I think that's what really makes these smaller targets stand out, is the foliage around them and putting things out there to make it look a little more depth perceptive than just sitting out in the middle of a target field. What do you think? It definitely looks bigger than it is. It looks bigger than it is from back here, that's for sure. I'll walk up there, just stand next to it now. I do have him on a tall platform, so his feet are kind of below that log. And maybe I need to move him up so he's a little bit closer, but yeah, I think that's going to be great. So here I am standing next to it. Here I am standing on the platform that he's on. So I think it's doing its job. I think it's looking a lot bigger than it is. Put in the comments what you think. Alright, well, hopefully this video will help some of you guys make a decision on whether or not this is a good buy for you or not. I'm perfectly happy with it. I think it looks great. It's going to give me some good practice at 20 yards, looking like a life-size animal. So at 60 yards, but so yeah, leave it in the comments if you think it's worth the money. I think it is. I think it's a great target. I think everybody that buys this target will be more than happy with it, especially if you have somewhere that you can put it in a surrounding to give it that realistic size at long distance. So anyway, thanks for watching Public's Eye Outdoors. Stay safe out there in your hunts, everybody, and we'll see you on the next video.